James is a good one, as all these people are. He's been a very, very valued employee of Oklahoma County, and most particularly the assessor's office. He's a very good one, and I take great pride in wishing him the best and moving that we approve this.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
13 is one we may have trouble with.
Yeah.
I've got some problems with the next one.
This guy's a scoundrel.
I don't think he's worked here.
Just think of the people that are listening, everybody put down their Coke right now and they're listening.
All right, for Kevin Jacobs.
I move Kevin Jacobs. He is one fine man.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Danny, item 14.
All right, good afternoon. All right, we ended the month of March with a balance of $378,487 in the forfeiture account. We've already moved $400,000. This board voted last month to move another $400,000 in May. So projecting out the rest of the year with those numbers, we're estimating we'll end the year with about $143,000 in this account. Month of March, forfeitures were down. We had $36,599 in forfeitures in March.
Dan, you're going to transfer $400,000 and you're only showing $378 today?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we're projecting we're going to bring in $212,000.
I understand that you're projecting it, but you don't have it yet. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How do you do that?
Well, I'm more concerned about, if I look at the balance at the end of March, and we're going to move 400, if we had zero move, we're 22,000 in the ditch. So I know that the possibility of having less than 22,000 is a very limited possibility, but if you look back at 131.17, we only had 9,900 that month. So do you feel comfortable that you've got that many that have left the county in this month that's going to make that happen?
Yeah, and since the board voted to move it in May, we've got some time. We can look at it again before we actually move the money. We're going to make sure there's enough money in there.
That's exactly what I was going to suggest, is be sure we've got an agenda item on for next year, for next month, for short.
Yeah,
Because if nothing else, we can put an agenda item on and move, say, 200,000 instead of 400.
I just thought that I wasn't here on the last meeting because of the filing season, but when I see that we're 22,000 short and we had 1 month in the last year that we were at 9,900, I don't want to have you put a negative number out there.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, I don't think the county will allow you to do a negative number, so.
Could we move 200 and then visit it again and move another 200 at the time, or just wait?
Well, we're not supposed to move anything until May.
Yeah, well, end of May, is that correct? So we have one more board meeting before that money actually does move.
We'll look at it in April, we'll have another month, and then we'll look at it again before we actually do it.
Okay, yeah, I just don't like negative numbers.
Other questions, Danny? If not, is there a motion to receive the report?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
15 is the defined benefit retirement plan quarterly report. You want to?
Routine report, unless you have any questions on this, I don't have anything to add to it.
Is there a motion to receive?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 16 is the action for approval of the engagement letter between Johnson and,
Sweet.
there you go, the audit the defined benefits retirement system.
I move approval of the letter.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, 17, as you might have anticipated, would be on the agenda today, and this was to explain that empowerment did not meet the fiduciary responsibilities as deemed by the district attorney, in spite of what they said. We, of course, went with the DA's recommendation, and so the county commissioners rejected it. Gretchen, is there anything else I should add for the record on that?
No, just actually what the board did is they withdrew that bid from Power. It didn't meet the RFP.
So this item's on your...
Providing fiduciary services.
So this is just for information
Yeah,
purposes.
this is just to receive information anyway. I move we receive the information.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
18, this is,
I don't understand why this item is even on the agenda for the retirement board. It's the Board of County Commissioners' decision, according to the DA. So why are we asking for an action item to reject the other bids? Board of County Commissioners wants to reject them, they can reject them. They want to accept them, they can accept them. They got the DA's advice. What's the purpose of bringing it before this board?
Well, because there's an additional thing to that agenda item. The agenda item informs this board that the Board of County Commissioners rejected all bids.
Okay, so it's for
And
information.
then it's to request the retirement board to reestablish standards for the solicitation of proposals for your pension administrative services. So the gist of it is that the RFP that went out was likely not clear enough or articulate. That's not the right word.
So the DA's going to write it for us?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that it became clear after the bids were open, you needed to hire a consultant to sort through all those bids, multiple revisions. You get a proposed contract from a vendor that doesn't meet the RFP, that what the bids you got were varied. You got bids from straight record keepers, you got bids from companies that provided both record keeping and fiduciary services, in other words, a turnkey, and it became very difficult to sort through all this. So what you need to do, in our opinion, is to look at what you have, see if you're happy with what you have, and if that's the same level of service you want to continue with in the future, set that out in the RFP, and anything else you might desire needs to go out in the RFP. Now, I can't say that the DA's office has enough background, any one of us, in investments in this type of business to help draft that RFP, or whether the purchasing agent has it, we need to retain someone to assist you. But I don't think that there was adequate discussion among this board as to what you all wanted in your provider. But what was ultimately awarded and then rejected was a company that was providing record keeping. And record keeping is just one part of what you all do. In my opinion, the critical part this board does is it reviews the options provided to the employees and exercises its fiduciary duties in selecting those options, investment options, for your employees. And that might be just not merely limited to, the types of investment options, but the number and the diversity of those investment
So
options.
you're saying this board has a fiduciary duty to do some stuff?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, could I get for next month's agenda, Mr. Chairman, an agenda item that discussion of possible vote for the board to get insurance to cover our fiduciary duties? As an individual board member, I want to have that.
I thought that we're already covered with that now.
No, we never voted for it.
I think with the current vendor we are. As an individual?
The statutes provide for insurance for this board. I don't know if the county's ever purchased that.
Okay.
I don't think that's included via your current.
Yeah, just okay. I think that's a good agenda item.
you don't sell it.
We don't, no, we do not.
I think that might be a conflict. But,
So we have discussed this before, but I think that's a good discussion, sure.
Okay, we
That
put
needs
that
to be
as
on
an
the-
agenda item.
For the next agenda item.
Okay.
Okay, so basically this is twofold. One to give us 18, one is to give us information, and the second is to request that we reestablish standards for solicitation of proposals for pension and administrative services. Is that correct?
right, and you have options, Bob. You could put out two bids. You could put one out for a straight record keeper and one to help you with your collection of your investment options. someone who would help, advise this board, or you could do it as a turnkey, which we've been, receiving right now. I can't pro and con that for you, but, I think it was it added to the confusion when the bids came in and they were reviewed just exactly what kind of services were being offered to the county, and it became difficult to determine the cost of those services to the county, and importantly, what level of service the county would expect to receive, whether it be very hands-on, fund by fund, articulated through presentations, or you're just handed a quarterly or a semi-annual report and you have to delve through it and figure it out yourself.
So what you're saying is we need to go out for bid or go out for RFP, select somebody that meets the RFP, and then make a recommendation, just exactly what we did last time?
No, I'm saying that I think you need to consider what you want as a board to receive.
Do we, well, there's no requirement that we do an RFP. We can pay in them, invest trust, whatever we want for as long as we want to do it. You know, it's only county money, so that's no big deal.
Well, I think that contract, you know,
Is there anything in the statutes that require us to go out for an RFP?
well, there are two sets of statutes. One talks about investment managers, another talks about, I think, more like a banking institution.
Okay.
Going out to bid.
Do we have any duty to go, to bid this out?
The statutes are written so oddly that you could, yes, say that you should put it out for bid.
How often? Once every year, once every 5 years, once every 10 years?
Well, that's up to the RFP, you know, it's up to the board. Normally it's about 5 years for any contract with the county. Occasionally you see something a little longer. The benefit of putting it out for a longer period of time is to lock in a price. That's an inducement for the vendor saying you're going to receive my, you know, get business from us for 5 consecutive years, and they're willing to invest in the county, and the county is willing to invest in them. However, the county is still restricted. It can only contract on an annual basis, normally set on the fiscal year to ensure that it has funds, but it's just a price lock-in. You do it with a lot of different contracts, Bob. You do it with something as simple as your photocopier, food service with the jail. I mean, it happens.
Is there a suggestion?
I move we receive the information.
Second. You don't
Where's
wish
the
to
thought
take
that
any
you might
action?
want to retain someone, a third party to help you develop this RFP?
At this
There's
point,
no motion to bid this thing out by the retirement board. Why should we retain a third party for anything?
To help you develop an RFP.
That's only if we decide to do an RFP. We may not decide to do an RFP, which is motion to do that.
my motion is to receive the information.
And it's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any others that wish to make a motion for action on this item before we leave it? Hearing none, is there any discussion or action on item 19?
Question on 19 and on this agreement. I believe the agreement has a 60-day opt-out for both sides, does it not? It does, that's my understanding, okay.
Wait a second. What's the difference between 19 and 20?
One's a 457.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
I'm sorry?
One's a 457, one for the DC plan, and the other one's for the 457.
One of them's for the 401A and one of them's for the 457.
Yeah,
Two different plans.
Oh, okay. My question is twofold. One is, the fiduciary responsibility language in the contract, according to the DA, meets the requirements of the law. Is that correct?
So I didn't personally review these two. Aaron did. However, there's fiduciary language with regard to the 457, but not with the 401.
I thought there was 457 fiduciary in both of them.
I don't think so with the 457.
Do you all recall?
It's just the 401A, that's because the other one,
Oh, there is strictly in the four, so you had them reversed.
Did I flip them?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that's very important, the 457, but the fiduciary, we do have the fiduciary through your current contract and your proposed contract for the 401A.
right.
For the DC.
And I'm asking the district attorney right now if that language meets their criteria under the 401A. That's all I want, is you to say yes. If you say yes, I'm happy with making a vote. If you're saying no, then we've got to have this contract written so that it encompasses what you believe is necessary for their fiduciary relationship. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Bob, and I'll repeat myself, I told you that Erin reviewed the contract. I did not, but she mentioned to me that they recited the fiduciary language with regard to the DC plan, but it was not in the 457. Did I say that right this time? Thank you.
So they said that, so Erin reviewed it, and she said that the 401 plan, the language regarding fiduciary, met the duty under the statute for the combined record keeper advisor. Is that correct?
That's what she mentioned to me, and she approved it.
Okay, and you've approved previous language where you've said it met that criteria, is that correct? So you have no reason, having studied this with Empower and written
I have no reason to dispute or be concerned that they don't meet their fiduciary duty.
based on the language written in the contract.
Correct.
Thank
From my recollection.
Move approval of item 19, approval of the agreement.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Show me no.
Item 20, the concurrent of what we just talked about for item 19.
Move to approve.
Well, I got a question. She just told us that the 457 had no fiduciary language in there.
I don't think the 457,
Because it's the employee's plan.
yeah, I don't think this, and if we're gonna ask that question, we gotta be sure, because this is not the unique 457. Remember, we got, 5 vendors that have.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about, yeah. And if the board granted Bob's retirement an option to do that, and we don't have a fiduciary language in there, then we have total.
I think the 457 language is different though from a fiduciary standpoint.
John?
It is, just real quick, the investment allocation that the board chooses from advice from Invest Trust, the investment allocation on the DC plan has been copied over to the 457 plan. So all those investment choices that go across the board, for the board to make a decision, those investment choices are then applied to the 457 plan as well.
And then the other 457s, again, I don't recall the exact number off the top of my head, but I think we got 5 vendors. 3 vendors, well, I was within 40%. So we had 3 vendors on the 457 plans.
Is it Prudential, Investors?
Nationwide Investors and that.
So do you have any questions?
I don't understand why all 3 of these vendors shouldn't be required to sign the same fiduciary language as in the 401 language that Invest Trust presents us with on that. I don't understand why that these vendors, whether it's Nationwide, whether it's Hartford, or whether it's Invest Trust, should have any difference of a fiduciary duty as to the employees that they do. And that's my argument. I want it across the board. I'm going to vote no on all 3 of them.
Okay.
Does Hartford have fiduciary in their contract?
They have not had that in the past. I think that we'll see a lot of changes due to the possible passing of the DOL fiduciary rule this year. And so I kind of like to reserve that till I see their agreement. And I understand it's in the mail to me now, so hopefully at the next meeting, we can review that. However, I have always been a fiduciary.
You have personally been a fiduciary.
On the Mass Mutual plan, yes,
I'm sorry?
on the Mass Mutual plan.
Okay, so, I don't understand. So you've been the fiduciary, but not for Hartford. How does your being a fiduciary, how is that the same then as the Hartford 457 plan having fiduciary responsibilities in it?
Well, I have to, whenever they suggest investment options or they make changes, you know, I have to review those and make sure of what they're saying. The reason why they're changing them is something that's going to benefit the participants of the plan.
Which is the same thing InvestTrust does on their 457, is it not?
Well, if she's saying talk to the participant before they make changes, no, we don't. It's participant-directed account, so they can go online.
There's where I think the key is, and that just Mr. Lilly mentioned a while ago. It's participant-directed. I got 457, I couldn't tell you which with, but I got 457, but I do.
What would you like to see, what would be the solution?
Take the language in, that she just approved for the 401 and put it in a 457, and it meets the criteria. And make all three of the companies do it.
Well, I certainly agree. If we do one, we need to do all
Dave, do
three.
you have opinion on Ms. Thompson?
The language typically on 457 typically does not include that as an ERISA example, ERISA 321 fiduciary, but we would accept that in our contract on the 457. We already do on the 401.
There you go. There you go. And then just let's be sure we require the other two vendors to do exactly the same thing. You said, I believe, that your contract is coming in now, but presumably on our board, be on this board next month?
Right.
So you want to strike this item and bring it back next month with new supporting documents?
Is it my motion, or was it my motion?
Oh, did we ever get a motion?
I think we've got
I
a
don't think
motion.
we're at a motion yet.
Yeah.
I motion to strike this. Bring it back next month with
Defer it to next month.
different.
Well, I think the problem with deferral is they won't have the right supporting documents, right? We need to strike it and start over again. If we're gonna change the language. I mean, it doesn't bother me, it's just making sure it's not gonna be hung up on our final
Right.
month. Because of
I agree.
Well, the language of the agenda item is proper, you're just substituting the supporting document or a hyperlink. Hyperlink is really not the agenda item, so I think you could defer it and then
Okay.
substitute some new agreement. I just don't want to approve it right now.
Mr. Hooten, is that your motion?
Yes.
Or you could strike it, and use it then, it doesn't matter.
The motion
Stand.
stands. Okay. Yes, to defer.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Board comments.
Do we need a agenda item to discuss the other two? What needs to happen so that we have the other two contracts meeting the same requirement?
Well, I'm working on requesting both of those right now for the renewals, and so Virginia's new ASA from Mass Mutual is on its way, and I doubt that it contains fiduciary language, but we'll find out. So that's going to be going back and forth, we're going to go back to them, and I'll request Nationwide as well.
Clerk can just put it on the board, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Ted?
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank everybody who supported our T.D. Taylor for sheriff. I want to thank you all for that. And we got another man running for mayor, Brian Malm. We want to remember him.
You know, I'm tired, we have no business discussing politics at this particular meeting, and I would, you know, and regardless of who's running, and they may be my best friend and whatever, we have no business discussing that at an open meeting of the county retirement board.
I yield.
I think we can, surely we could congratulate someone. Congratulate on your granddaughter. Thank you very much.
Any other further board comments? If not, is there citizens to be heard? Seeing none, any new business? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, ladies. Thank you.